There's no pocket, but you want one. So you flip the skirt inside out so that you can see the seam line on the inside. Determine where you want your pocket to go, and you can line it up. You're just gonna make a little mark so you know where it's going to line up. You do that on both sides, ideally. One there, one here. I'm gonna put a pin. I want you to see where we just put that notch. Now I'm going back and I'm going to place a pin on both sides. The reason why I'm doing this is because we're going to open up the seam where we want to put the pocket. However, we don't want to rip through the rest of the stitches that are there. We just want to open the seam up from the bottom mark we made to the top mark that we made. Pins will prevent the seam ripper from going farther than we want it to go. Where I put my marker, I'm going to put a pin here. This is where our pocket is going to go. Insert our seam ripper down here at the bottom of the opening of the seam, and just take your time, right? We don't want to cut through any of the fabric. Open up the seam a little bit back here. You can insert the seam ripper into the seam, and sometimes you can pull the seam and you can see the threads, right? So we want to cut through all of those. So we're going to start down here, insert the seam ripper. All right, so we just started opening it, and then you could just pull it sometimes with your hand. Otherwise, keep going with the seam ripper. If I were standing at a better angle, you could just rip all the way through it. And there are people who say that you should go this direction so that this point doesn't rip through poke a hole into the fabric. Do what's best for you. Now my seam is open, top is still sewn, and everything underneath this pin is still sewn together. You can see that this will align with the opening that we just made.